Season's very uncertain for the entire league in general, but you're a free agent for the first time. Have you thought about what free agency might look like for you if you'd like to be back?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a restricted free agent, so I think that changes things a little bit, but I've loved my years here in Indiana.
What if I told you the Indiana Fever might be on the verge of losing the one player who kept their team together? And it's all because of the person who's supposed to lead them? I'm talking about Stephanie White. And the woman she's been quietly pushing aside is none other than Lexi Hull, the heart and soul of this team. And what happened behind the scenes might just be the breaking point that sends her packing for good. Let's rewind to where this whole mess started. The Fever had already been dealing with chaos, but when DeWanna Bonner, the so-called veteran savior, suddenly quit on the team, everything fell apart. She stopped showing up. No communication, no texts, no calls. She was literally ghosting her teammates while still collecting checks. And right in the middle of this disaster, Coach Stephanie White goes in front of the cameras with a straight face and tells everyone everything's fine. But it wasn't fine. It was a mess, and she knew it. Because that same day, an article dropped revealing the truth. Bonner had flat out refused to return to the team. Now imagine you're Lexi Hull. You were benched for that same player, the one who just quit, the one who didn't even have the decency to tell her teammates she was leaving.
She's just tough. I mean, she's just hard-nosed. She's just a tough kid, and she's able to play through certain levels of pain that would sideline most people. I certainly have a respect for the way that she's able to do that.
You think Lexi forgot that? Not a chance. Athletes never forget disrespect. They file it away. They turn it into fuel. And this right here, became Lexi's fire. But the story didn't end there. In fact, this is where things started to spiral out of control. After Bonner disappeared, the Fever had a choice: rebuild or collapse. Lexi Hull stepped up and saved the team. She didn't complain, she didn't talk trash, she just showed up and played elite basketball. Suddenly, Indiana's defense looked alive again. Caitlin Clark had someone she trusted on the floor, someone who knew where to be, how to rotate, and how to play winning basketball. The energy shifted. The chemistry clicked. The Fever looked like a real contender again. Lexi was everywhere, diving for loose balls, locking up guards, doing all the dirty work nobody else wanted to do. It wasn't flashy, but it was winning basketball. And for a moment, it felt like Stephanie White finally understood.
How impressive of a job did Stephanie do as coach with all the moving parts throughout the season?
I mean, incredible. Simply incredible. Be so easy to give up and say, we're just gonna take this year, we're gonna be a building year, we're gonna get better, set ourselves up for a good season next year.
But then, Sophie Cunningham got healthy, and that's when everything went right back to disaster. Now, nobody's saying Sophie Cunningham isn't a solid player. She's tough, brings energy, and fits well next to Caitlin. But let's be honest, there was no reason for what happened next. Because as soon as Sophie came back, Stephanie White benched Lexi Hull again. No warning, no explanation, just straight to the bench, right after she'd rescued the team from the Bonner fiasco. And if you think I'm exaggerating, let's look at the numbers. In July, the heart of the season, Lexi was barely cracking 20 minutes a game. 15 minutes one night, 18 the next, then 14, 19. Meanwhile, the team's defense was collapsing again. Indiana desperately needed what Lexi brought: hustle, discipline, chemistry. But White had her glued to the bench. And for what? To experiment.
Nice to see the ball go through the net for her and for her to play with such confidence. She is her own worst critic. She's a perfectionist. He wants everything to go right all the time, and it was nice to see the ball go through the net for her.
White tried out Ari McDonald in the starting lineup. She tried running 3 guards with Caitlin. She tried to force Sophie Cunningham into a starting role, every single combination, except the one that was already working. It wasn't about who earned it anymore. It wasn't about who played the best basketball. It was about Stephanie White's plan. And Lexi Hull just didn't fit that plan, no matter how many times she proved she should. Here's the real problem. Stephanie White coaches like she's building a fantasy team on paper, not a real team on the court. Her pattern is the same every time. She falls in love with her vision, with certain veterans, certain lineups, certain names. Even when reality screams otherwise, she sticks to it. We saw it with Natasha Howard. Promised her a big role, let her play through constant inconsistency. We saw it with DeWanna Bonner. Promised her stardom, and she walked away mid-season. And now we're seeing it again with Lexi Hull, who's been the quiet backbone of this team. the one who never complains, the one who plays through pain, the one who actually earns her spot. But Stephanie doesn't reward that.
I mean, it feels like a physical game every game. Feels like it's been a physical season. But yes, I think, I feel like I've been on the ground a little bit more this series so far.
She rewards familiarity. She rewards her plan. And that plan? It's driving away the players who actually make the Fever worth watching. Because when you prioritize loyalty to your own system over loyalty to your players, that's how locker rooms die. And if you think Lexi and her agent aren't watching this closely, think again. Every team in the WNBA sees what's happening in Indiana right now. They see a player like Lexi Hull, a gritty, defensive-minded guard who doesn't need the ball to change the game, getting buried behind White's favorites. You know what that tells them? Opportunity. Because players like Lexi are gold in this league. She doesn't need plays drawn up for her. She doesn't need to be the star. She just makes everyone better. She guards the toughest matchups. She dives for every loose ball. She brings toughness and chemistry wherever she goes.
So obviously with a lot of uncertainty, you don't know what's to come, but I've built a life here, and I love this franchise. I love the people. I love the fans. So we'll see what comes. Elliot?
Seattle Storm? They're rebuilding around young talent. A player like Lexi fits perfectly. Portland Fire? New team, new culture. They'd kill for someone like her to set the tone. Even contending teams that are capped out will find room for a player like Lexi Hull, because she's the missing piece between good and great, and Indiana, somehow, is acting like she's replaceable. They're not just risking losing a role player, they're risking losing their defensive identity. But this isn't even the worst part. While all this is happening, guess who's getting all the love and attention from the front office? Kelsey Mitchell. Every press conference, every interview, it's all, we've got to re-sign Kelsey. She's our top priority. And sure, Kelsey's great. She's elite offensively, a proven scorer.
For us, it's a support system. That shouldn't change. I think, Kayla knows that she has ears and eyes in the locker room, and the support that she has behind, whether it's us or anybody else. I would like to think that she knows it's there.
But what about Lexi? Where's the same energy for the player who's literally bled for this team? Because the hypocrisy here is wild. They made promises to Bonner before she even played a game. They made promises to Natasha Howard. She was talking about MVPs before she even delivered. And both of them didn't live up to the hype. Meanwhile, Lexi Hull, the one who's actually produced, who's actually earned Caitlin Clark's trust, who fans adore, she gets silence. No promises, no commitment, no respect. That's not just poor management. That's organizational negligence. They're chasing names while losing culture. They're talking about re-signing Kelsey when they might be losing the very heart of the locker room. And when you lose the locker room, the whole thing falls apart. Let's talk about who Lexi Hull really is. This is a player who played through injuries, through pain, through 2 black eyes. 2. That detail alone says everything about her. She's not out there for clout. She's not chasing highlights. She's not padding stats. She's there to win. She's a warrior. The kind of player every championship team is built around. The ones who don't get headlines but make everyone else shine brighter. She's the reason Caitlin Clark can play freely on each offense. She's the reason Indiana's defense looks alive when she's on the floor. And the fact that Stephanie White can't see that, or worse, refuses to, that's a complete failure of leadership. Because when you bench your most selfless player, when you marginalize the one person who gives you everything, you're not just losing games, you're losing your culture, and players see that. If Lexi, the player who does everything right, can get treated like this, what does that tell the rest of the roster? That loyalty doesn't matter, that hard work doesn't matter, that doing the dirty work doesn't matter. And once that message spreads, it's over. No one fights for a team that doesn't fight for them. Now here's the part Indiana fans need to hear. Lexi Hull has every single right to explore her options this offseason. If Seattle calls and says, "We'll give you a max contract, guaranteed starter spot, and build our defense around you," why would she say no? What has Indiana done to earn her loyalty? Because right now, all they've shown is neglect. Stephanie White created this mess herself, promising the wrong players, ignoring the right ones, and turning the Fever's chemistry into a game of favorites. If Indiana wants to keep Lexi, there's only one way out. White has to walk into that meeting and make the same promises she made to everyone else. A guaranteed starting spot, a real contract, Public respect, not empty words, not PR talk, actual commitment. Because if they think they can lowball her, if they think she'll stay just because she's loyal, they're delusional. Lexi Hull deserves starter money. She deserves recognition. She deserves to be part of the core. If not, she's gone. And honestly, I wouldn't blame her, because loyalty only goes one way for so long. And once it breaks, it's gone for good. So here's the truth that Indiana doesn't want to face. The Fever's biggest offseason crisis isn't about whether Kelsey Mitchell re-signs. It's not about rotations or free agents. It's about respect. Lexi Hull has proven time and time again that she's the glue holding this team together. But Stephanie White's negligence, her obsession with her own plan, has put that in danger. If Indiana doesn't fix this now, they're not just losing a player, they're losing their heart. And the cruel irony? They'll deserve it. Because when you take your most loyal soldier for granted, eventually someone else will give her the love, the role, and the contract she's always earned. So, Indiana, the ball's in your court. Are you going to recognize Lexi Hull for who she really is? Or are you going to let another team take the heart of your franchise right out from under you? Because if you do, you're going to wake up next season realizing the one person who never gave up on you finally did. What do you all think? Does Lexi stay in Indiana, or does she walk away for good? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Because one thing's for sure, this offseason, the Fever's biggest battle isn't on the court, it's behind the scenes.